Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. as always here at Sportilicious here on YTV. My name is Bokamosa Ignacia. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you as we celebrate the champions and reflect back on sports history, discover new sport, not forgetting celebrating the participation of women in sports, as we always say at Sportilicious. And thank you very much for joining us. In the first segment of the champion this week, we celebrate the WBF Super Featherweight champion by the name Stephen Small Bahwasi.
Stephen Bahwasi is a young boy who grew up in G West, Gaborone West, from Mahalape. Ketsinez Gela from standard 1 to standard 7, Kobu Prima Primary School, Junior, Gaborone West Junior Secondary School. That's where I discovered boxing, and then I became later a lady senior. To be honest, Nale, my brother, Kenale he's also a boxer. As our promoter. We grew up competing in almost everything. So I was playing football before, and then because Gela became table tennis. So he joined boxing before me, and then I got out the more national finals. I didn't bring home a medal. So then he came with the gold medal, and then he started bragging about, say, you never get a gold in your life, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the next year, I went to boxing saying I'm going to get a medal where this guy got the medal from. I really joined boxing until now. It was in 2017, I think June or so, May, June. So I was fighting a South African called Brendan Bukinya. So the fight was 4 rounds, and for 4 rounds, it was more similar to amateur boxing. So I worked like as an amateur, because I didn't have too much experience in pro boxing. So I won the fight, second round TKO. I was very excited for my first win as a professional boxer. The biggest highlights of my career, I would say, this winning this title and to fight for the WBA African title. Like, that was the first Motswana to fight for the WBA title, and that is my only loss in professional boxing. The biggest challenges are, I would say, lack of fights in Botswana. Since my last fight in Botswana was back in 2017, so I've been fighting outside the country because of lack of sponsorships, and promoters doesn't promote so much because of sponsorship, and so if private companies can put hands into boxing and invest in, like, to adopt an athlete, that would be really great for us and as professional boxers, because there's too many talent here in Botswana. To become the WBF World Champion is a big thing for me, because in Botswana boxing history, including amateur and professional boxing, I'm the first Botswana to become a world champion, which is a big deal to me. The fight was okay. I knew I would win the fight after the first round was over, so because I was dominating the first round. But for me, if you are an opponent and you let me dominate the first round, you will never take it back. I won the fight already. Right now, I'm a WBA world champion, and I know everyone now in the world is eyeing for me. They want to take this from me. I'm going to go back to the gym, work harder than I did before I got this title. And hopefully by next year, 2 years, I will have 3 more, 4 more titles around my waist. Yeah, like I said earlier on, the government and private sectors can just play a big role, should start playing a role in professional boxing. Give funds, allow us to host tournaments in Botswana, because right now our promoters only do 1 fight, 2 fights a year, which is not enough. You can't grow like that, playing 2 or 1 fight in a year. Us, we are fortunate because ESPN has also adopted us. They take us like almost every month. We go play in South Africa, Namibia, wherever they are. So if private sector and the government can help out in pro boxing, we can get there. The only thing that I have to say to someone who wants to join boxing is to do what I did, not to take shortcuts, learn to sacrifice what matters, and you will get there. And be focused, be dedicated, and you will get there.
And that was Stephen Small Bakwasi sharing his journey in sports and also motivating us to also believe in our talent. Now we move into the segment where we discover the sport that is squash. Do you know the sport that is squash? Do you know what happens with the squash, the scoring points, the systems, the techniques that are used to play the sport? This segment is for you.
Hello, my name is Chadiwa Mafa. I'm a coach at Alpha Squash Academy. I've recently started coaching, and we are trying to develop squash in many ways. And today I'm going to teach a little bit about how squash is played and how you can join the sport. Squash is a game that is played indoors. You have to have a 4-walled court. That is what we use to play squash in. You also have to have a certain type of shoes. The shoes that are used in squash court, usually we have to have the rubber-coated shoes so that in court you don't slip. And then there is a racket that you use for squash, and then this is the squash ball that you use. Moving on to the court, it's simply divided into 4 main parts. We have the front court, side walls, 2 side walls, and the back court. There, in between there, we have a service line. Okay, there, it's called the service line. And then we have 2 service boxes. We have service box A and service box B. So when one stands on service A and the other one receives while standing on service box B. Then the outer line that's up there, it's called the outside line. You can't serve outside the line. It has to, all the balls that you play inside the court have to be down the line. And then in the middle here, we have what you call a tee. The tee is usually, it's the center of the court. It helps one to know where to stand after you play the ball. And then down there, it's called a tin. The blue line there, it's called a tin. The tin there is usually it's there as the out. It's also part of the out court. You cannot hit a ball down that line. And then we have the back court. All the balls that hit the back glass, you can play the ball from the back court to the front court. And then all the balls that you play in squash have to reach the front court at all times, the front wall at all times. Here, it's called a service box. This is our service box A. So whenever you serve, you have to stand inside the box, 1 foot in, the other one outside, or you both fit inside. And then this one here, this is the middle of the court. That is, after you hit any ball, this is where you have to stand. So you can get to any corner inside the court. And then when you serve the second time, you have to use the other box. You can't serve on the same box at the same time. You have to change. When you serve the side, the other service, you're going to do it on the other side. She's one of the students in Alpha Squash Academy. She'll be demonstrating how to serve. She has her racket and a ball. Going to demonstrate how you serve. 1 foot inside the box, the other one up, then you throw the ball up. Then you hit the ball. That's how you serve. that's how you learn how to play squash. You see how simple it is? It's just an indoor sport that you play in a four-walled glass. It's either it's a wall or it's a glass. That's how you play squash. You need to have a racket, you need to have a ball, and you have to have fours that surround you and all the lines that are there. That's how you play squash. And coming to the Alpha Squash Academy, if you want to learn how to play squash, you can come to the National Squash Center, which is located right behind the National Stadium. We start with kids at the age of 5 up to adults. You can also come as an intermediate, or you can come as a beginner. We are welcome to come and play squash. Thank you.
Now we move into celebrating the participation of women in sports as we celebrate a netball player and also a sports administrator by the name of Francina. Amen.
My name is Francina Amen. I come from Dryhoek and I play netball. I've been doing netball for the past 17 years. As a young girl playing barefooted, I've had the privilege of now being the captain of the senior national netball team. And it's been such a journey and a half. It's been such a privilege to be able to don the blue, black and white. It's been a journey that has been characterized by tears, that has been characterized by hard work, that has been characterized by sheer resilience as well. Because our journeys in sport are different. But for me as a girl child, coming from Dryhoek, having nothing, knowing nothing about netball actually, it has been such a pleasure and a privilege, to say the least, to be able to play sport. And my journey, I'm so grateful for it because it's not just been about playing, it's also about being impactful and giving back to the sport as well. I'm presently a member of the World Netball's Voice of Athletes Working Group, where we are tasked with coming up with an instrument that seeks to speak about the needs of athletes in the world. I'm one of the 10 athletes worldwide that have been chosen, and I'm representing Africa and Dryhoek. I also have been very vastly involved in sport administration. I was part of the team that organized the 7th IWG World Conference on Women's Sport, as well as the first ever Women's Sport Leadership Academy here in Botswana. And I would say that for me, it's been such a privilege to experience both, because I believe that I had an opportunity earlier in my playing days to also be involved in administration. So I believe that it helped me to be more open-minded in terms of leadership, in terms of gender equality in sport, and as well as generally being impactful, especially to the girl child, and encouraging them to play sport. For me, sport is not just motshameko. For me, sport has been transformational. When I began playing sport, I didn't plan to be in the national team as an example, but netball has taken me from being that girl from Dryhoek who didn't know anything about netball to eventually being able to play at the highest level. And I think if there's anything that I appreciate the most, it's been about the transformation that netball has brought for me into my life, to help me become somebody of value in society, to help me become somebody who I can be able to share my life experience with others, to be somebody who is a team player, even on court, even off court as well. These are some of the soft skills that I've been able to garner from sport and netball in general, because I believe netball is a purest form of team sport. So with that, you learn to have sisterhood, you learn to become somebody so I would say that my journey with netball has really been one that has been characterized by those qualities. I believe that sport is really evolving, and women's participation in sport is very instrumental, because can I make it career as a child, and sport cannot do anything without women, because kana motho wa me ke motho e leng gore o khona gore a momaganye dilo, a momaganye setšhaba. So for me, I think women equally as like men have had their fair share of challenge. First and foremost, the first challenge that I believe we have is that of mindset. I think our mindset towards sport has been that you are just mainly playing, but we don't see it as a tool for development. We don't see it as something that can be a tool for transformation, not just for us, but also as a society as well. Sport, it will refine you. It helps you become a better version of yourself. So I believe that when we see sport as motshameko, our posture towards it changes. We see it as something saying we're just passing time. But the moment we change our posture to say, no, this is actually a tool for development, this is something that can change somebody's trajectory of life, then I believe we'll have more resources towards it. We'll be able to see women by they are passionate about sport, having an ecosystem that allows for them to become a better version of themselves. I believe other challenges is like lack of infrastructure, like women by perhaps they're from Batswana and they're not able to continue playing sport. Right? So it's a challenge. Our infrastructure so those are some of the challenges they know right but we are grateful for conversations and like that during the IWG World Conference, where we saw one of the pillars in the Brighton plus Helsinki Declaration. We want to, one of the core pillars, facilities. We need to enable women to play sport and give them proper facilities that can allow for them to play. Because women are equally talented, really. We're equally capable of leading, of playing and doing a lot in sport, but we see all these barriers that exist, even in leadership. So I believe that there's a lot that we can do as long as we change our mindset towards sport and see it as a tool for development as opposed to just mere play.
And that is how we do it here on YTV Sport. We celebrated WBF featherweight champion Stephen Small Bahwasi. We reflected back on the history of sports. Sports are swimming. We discovered the sport of squash. Not forgetting celebrating the participation of women in sports. Le Francina Amen, a sports administrator and also a netball player. The show as Sportilicious. My name is Bukamo Sognosi. Let's meet again next week.